There's a strange shift that happens when you finally stop clinging. Not in the careless, I quit kind of way, but in the deep, soul-freeing release that unhooks you from the invisible chains of fear, pressure, and control. Because here's the truth, no one tells you. Most of the struggle in your life isn't caused by what's missing, but by your refusal to let go of what's already gone. In Buddhism, this is the moment the universe leans in and begins to send what's truly yours. Before we begin with number 1, subscribe to Buddha's Eternal Wisdom, where every video is a doorway to calm, clarity, and timeless Buddhist insight you won't find anywhere else. Stay with me until the end, because I'll share a powerful bonus lesson about the final inner shift that makes life start working in your favor. 1. The silent prison of holding on. There is a strange comfort in holding on. You convince yourself that if you cling hard enough, nothing will be lost. Yet, beneath that illusion of safety lies a quiet suffocation. The heart grows heavy, the mind restless, and life itself seems to shrink within the confines of your grip. The tighter you hold, the more the thing you love slips away, like water seeping through clenched fingers. Buddhist wisdom teaches that attachment is the seed of suffering. When we attach, we do not simply love. We demand, we fear, we try to control. This fear feels like protection, but it is, in truth, a silent prison. And here is the paradox. What you desperately try to keep from leaving often leaves faster because it cannot breathe in your grasp. The tighter you grip, the less you hold. Imagine a small bird resting in your hand. If you close your fist around it, its fragile body will struggle, panic, and fade. But if you open your palm, it may fly away, or it may choose to remain, resting there in trust. Life, too, is like that bird. It does not thrive when caged. It flourishes when given space. In the modern world, we cling to relationships, careers, identities, and outcomes. You may hold on to a job you've outgrown because change feels risky. You may clutch at a relationship out of fear of loneliness. Or perhaps you grip the image of who you used to be, afraid of the unknown self waiting to emerge. But in all these cases, your closed hand prevents you from receiving what is meant for you. The act of letting go is not loss. It is an act of faith. In Buddhist practice, release is a form of trust in the natural flow of the universe. Just as rivers find the sea without being pushed, life finds its way to where it belongs without force. By opening your hand, you create space for blessings to enter. Ask yourself, what in your life are you gripping out of fear? What weight sits in your hand so tightly that your fingers have forgotten how to stretch? If you released it today, even for a moment, would it be the end or would it be the beginning? Remember, letting go is not abandoning what you care for. It is giving it and yourself room to breathe, to grow, to return if it truly belongs. The hands that cling cannot receive. Only when you release can the universe place its gifts. And perhaps, in that quiet moment of surrender, you will see that what you were seeking was already on its way to you. The weight you cannot see. There are weights we carry that no one else can see. You smile, you keep walking, yet inside, something drags at your every step. It is not made of iron or wood. It is made of thoughts, memories, and silent fears. Invisible burdens break the strongest backs, not because of their size, but because they go unnoticed for too long. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that suffering is often born not from what is happening now, but from what we continue to carry from yesterday. Like a backpack filled with stones, you move through life without questioning why it feels so heavy. Some of these stones were placed there by others. Expectations, criticism, comparisons. Some you placed yourself. Regrets you refuse to release. Fears you nurture in secret. The need to control what cannot be controlled. Imagine sitting down, placing that backpack before you and opening it for the first time. Inside, you pick up one stone and whisper its name: regret. Another, fear. Another, still, the need for control. As you set each stone on the ground, your shoulders feel lighter, your breath deeper, your steps freer. You realize that much of what you carried was never yours to bear in the first place. In our modern lives, this invisible weight shows up in subtle ways. You may find yourself replaying conversations, holding grudges, or worrying about events that have not yet come. The body tenses, sleep becomes restless, joy feels distant. Yet, when you look closer, you see that the burden is not reality. It is the story you tell yourself about reality. The mind clings to its stones out of habit, not necessity. The Buddha taught that liberation begins when we recognize our attachments and release them. To let go of these stones is not weakness, it is wisdom. A traveler who refuses to put down their load will never reach the mountain's peak. In the same way, a mind that refuses to release its burdens will never taste true peace. Ask yourself, what heavy stone could you put down right now? Who gave it to you, and why have you carried it this long? Is it truly part of who you are, or just something you have mistaken for yourself? The truth is, you are not your regrets, nor your fears, nor your need for control. Each stone you lay down creates space for something new to arrive: clarity, freedom, and joy. The universe cannot fill hands already full of weight. Only when you release what does not belong to you can you finally receive what is meant for you. And when that happens, you will walk lighter, not because the path has changed, but because you have. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My peace attracts more 3. The dance between effort and invitation. There is a point where striving, which once felt noble, begins to push life away. You tell yourself you are working toward your dreams, yet the more you force, the more they seem to drift beyond reach. You cannot push the river and expect it to flow. In truth, the river already knows where it is going. Your task is not to control its current, but to trust it. Buddhism teaches the middle way, the balance between effort and surrender. Action is necessary, but so is space. The mind that clings too tightly to a timeline or outcome creates tension, and tension blocks the very blessings it seeks. Just as forcing a flower to bloom by pulling at its petals will only destroy it, rushing life disrupts its natural unfolding. Patience is not waiting without action. It is acting without desperation. Imagine sitting quietly beside a river, watching the current approach. In its waters, you see pieces of your desires drifting toward you: love, opportunities, peace. They arrive not because you chase them upstream, but because the flow of life carried them to your shore. The river does not need you to push it, it needs you to remain open when it delivers. In modern life, this truth is often forgotten. We push for promotions, forcing connections in relationships, obsessing over timelines for success. We become so fixated on the outcome that we forget to enjoy the present. The irony is, the more we grasp, the less joy we find, even when we achieve what we wanted. When the heart is restless, nothing feels enough. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us that peace comes when effort is balanced with trust. This is not about doing nothing, it is about doing what you can, then letting go of what you cannot control. Seeds grow not because we pull on them, but because we nurture them and allow the sun, rain, and time to do their part. Ask yourself, where in your life are you pushing instead of inviting? What might happen if you stepped back and allowed space for the universe to work? Would the result be delayed, or would it finally have room to arrive? When you stop forcing and start inviting, you align yourself with the natural flow of life. Doors open without struggle. People and opportunities appear without being chased. The right things arrive when both you and they are ready. Letting go does not mean losing control. It means choosing trust over fear. And in that space of trust, the universe often delivers more than you imagined, not because you demanded it, but because you made room for it to find you. Fourth, clenched-fist thinking. The Buddha once compared a closed hand to a closed mind. A fist may feel strong, but it cannot receive. In the same way, a mind clenched around one rigid belief cannot welcome the truth when it arrives. We mistake tightness for certainty, yet it is often just fear wearing the mask of strength. An open hand can hold the whole sky, but only if it is willing to open first. In Buddhist wisdom, the danger of clenched-fist thinking is that it traps us inside our own narrow vision. When we grip too tightly to our opinions, our past experiences, or our fixed idea of how life should unfold, we leave no space for the unexpected blessings the universe is ready to offer. Like soil, so compacted it cannot receive the seed. A closed mind cannot nurture new possibilities. Imagine kneeling in a quiet garden. The earth before you is hard and unyielding. No matter how perfect the seed you place there, it will never sprout unless you first loosen the soil. So you take a breath, press your hands into the ground, and gently break it apart, letting air and space in. Suddenly, the ground is ready to receive. Your mind works in the same way. It needs room for fresh truths to take root. In life, clenched thinking shows up when you say, "This is the only way," or "I already know how this ends." It appears when you resist advice, avoid change, or judge situations before they have fully unfolded. And while certainty feels safe, it can also become a cage that keeps you from seeing new paths. The Buddha's teachings invite us to loosen our mental grip, to replace "I know" with "I wonder." Curiosity softens the mind. It transforms life from a fixed script into a living, breathing journey. An open mind can adapt, receive, and grow without fear of losing itself. Ask yourself, what belief are you holding so tightly that it has no room to grow? Is it about who you are, what you can achieve, or how your future must look? What would happen if you allowed space for life to surprise you? When you unclench your mind, you will notice how much more you can hold, not because you abandoned your values, but because you allowed them to expand. Just as open soil welcomes seeds and rain, an open mind welcomes truth and possibility. The universe is always offering gifts, but it will not force them into a closed fist. Release your grip, and you may find the sky resting gently in your palm. 5. The pause that feels like nothing. Right after you finally let go, there is often a strange quiet, a pause that can feel like nothing at all. You expected relief or an immediate shift, yet instead, you meet emptiness. This stillness can be unsettling, but Buddhist wisdom reminds us emptiness is the space where life breathes. Without it, nothing new can enter. We live in a world that teaches us to constantly fill the gaps, to replace one relationship with another, to rush into the next goal, to drown silence with noise. Yet the space after letting go is not a void to escape from. It is the fertile ground where transformation begins. Like a bow pulled back before the arrow flies, the pause is a necessary tension, a gathering of unseen energy before motion returns. Imagine yourself as that bow. You are drawn back, held in stillness, feeling the quiet stretch of waiting. It is not wasted time, it is alignment, the moment when your inner self prepares for the release that will send you toward what is meant for you. To rush this moment would be to weaken your aim. In daily life, this pause can take many forms. After leaving a job that drained you, there may be days or weeks of uncertainty before the right opportunity appears. After releasing an attachment to a person, there may be a lonely space before deeper connections arrive. These are not signs that nothing is happening, they are signs that something is being made ready. The Buddha's teachings often point to the beauty of such spaces. Just as the moon's light is only seen because of the darkness surrounding it, the blessings we receive often come into focus because of the quiet before them. This stillness is where we gather strength, where we meet ourselves without distraction. Ask yourself, do you rush to fill the silence after letting go? Can you rest in the stillness without grasping for the next thing? If you can, you will find that what once felt like nothing becomes the clearest moment of your life. Trust that in this pause, life is rearranging itself in your favor. The universe is aligning people, events, and opportunities in ways you cannot yet see. If you can stay patient, you will feel the release, the arrow flying true toward its mark. The pause is not the end of your journey, it is the breath before the next step. And in that breath, everything you deserve is already finding its way to you. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My peace attracts more." 6. The universe's gentle tests. Often, just when you finally let go, life places a small challenge before you. It can feel like the universe is testing you, asking, "Are you sure you're ready?" You may have released an attachment, loosened your grip, and stepped into trust. Yet something happens that makes you question your decision. This is not punishment, it is a gentle test to see if your surrender is real. Buddhist wisdom teaches that the path to freedom is walked not only in still moments, but also in moments of challenge. Letting go is not a single act, it is a practice. The universe will sometimes send situations that stir your old fears or tempt you to return to your old grip. This is the moment to stand firm, to breathe, and to remember why you opened your hand in the first place. It is like standing at the shore, watching the tide recede. The water pulls back, leaving the sand exposed and bare. You might feel abandoned, unsure if it will return, but tides always return, and often they rush back fuller, carrying shells, treasures, and life with them. The retreat is not a loss, it is a gathering of strength. In life, this tide may appear as an unexpected delay, a closed door, or a difficult conversation right after you've chosen to move forward. If you've released the need for control, life may check your readiness by placing you in situations where control is impossible. These are moments not to doubt, but to deepen your trust. The Buddha spoke of impermanence as the nature of all things. Change flows in cycles. Ebb and flow, rise and fall. The challenge after release is simply part of that cycle. It asks you, will you remain open even when the tide is out? Will you believe in the return? Ask yourself, what test are you facing right now that might actually be proof you're close to receiving? Could the discomfort you feel be the universe pulling back, making room to bring something greater into your life? When you see life's challenges as gentle confirmations instead of obstacles, your fear shifts to faith. You begin to recognize that the tests are not there to block you, they are there to make you strong enough to receive. So, when the tide of life pulls away, do not run from the shore. Stand in the sand with patience, knowing the water will return. And when it does, it will carry with it more than you imagined, arriving not because you chased it, but because you trusted it to come. 7. The art of letting go without losing. There is a fear that if we let go, we will lose what matters most. We cling to people, dreams, and outcomes as if our grip alone keeps them alive. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us, what is truly yours cannot be lost. Letting go does not mean abandoning what you love. It means trusting it enough to give it space to grow. Think of a kite in your hands. You release it into the wind, and instead of falling, it soars higher. Though it dances in the open sky, an invisible string of trust keeps you connected. In the same way, when we release with faith, we do not sever our connection. We simply allow life to carry what we love to greater heights. The Buddha's teachings speak of non-attachment, not as indifference, but as freedom from the suffering of control. When we cling, we shrink life down to our fears. When we trust, we allow life to expand in ways we could not have planned. The art of letting go without losing is the art of trusting that the universe's design is kinder and wiser than our own. Imagine yourself holding something dear, perhaps a dream, a relationship, or even an image of who you believe you must be. Feel the weight of it in your hands. Now, slowly, open your fingers and watch it rise like that kite into the space where the wind can carry it. In time, it may return to you, or it may transform into something even more fitting for your journey. Either way, you have not lost. You have allowed. In life, this truth reveals itself again and again. A person you feared losing returns to you with deeper understanding. An opportunity you thought had slipped away reappears in a form far better suited to you. A dream you thought had ended quietly evolves into something richer. This is not luck. It is the natural rhythm of release and return. Ask yourself, what would you release today if you trusted it would return better? Would you set down the need to control every step of your career? Would you stop holding so tightly to how love must look? Would you allow your identity to shift into something more authentic? The act of release is a declaration. I trust that what is mine will find me. In that trust, you free yourself from the constant fear of loss. You make space for the universe to bring what is truly aligned with your path. When you master the art of letting go without losing, you will see that nothing real can be taken from you. Like the kite, it will always be connected, not by force, but by the quiet, unbreakable string of trust. And in that trust, you discover the truth. Letting go is not the end, it is the beginning of a better return. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My peace attracts more." 8. The truth about control. We often mistake control for strength. We think that by holding tightly to every detail, every outcome, and every person, we are protecting ourselves from disappointment. Yet Buddhist wisdom asks us to look deeper. Is control truly strength, or is it fear in disguise? The truth is, the strongest grip is the one that can let go. Control promises safety, but in reality, it is a fragile shield. The more we cling, the more fragile we feel, because the world is constantly shifting beyond our grasp. It is like trying to hold water in your hands. The harder you squeeze, the faster it slips away. Life is not meant to be trapped. It is meant to be lived, experienced, and trusted. Imagine standing beneath a waterfall. You extend your hands to catch the water, but no matter how tightly you try to hold it, it flows through your fingers. Now, picture opening your palms fully, allowing the water to flow over and around you without resistance. You still feel it. You are still part of it. Yet you are no longer exhausting yourself trying to contain it. In modern life, our desire for control shows up in countless ways, trying to manage how others think of us, forcing situations to unfold on our schedule, clinging to a specific version of success. These habits may feel empowering in the short term, but they often leave us tense, anxious, and disconnected from the natural flow of events. The Buddha's teachings remind us that impermanence is not a flaw in life. It is the very nature of it. When we resist this truth, we create suffering. When we accept it, we find peace. Letting go of control does not mean becoming passive. It means focusing your energy on what you can influence, your actions, your choices, your state of mind, and releasing the rest. Ask yourself, what part of your life are you trying to control that could flow better if left alone? Is there a conversation you keep rehearsing, an outcome you keep forcing, a person you keep trying to change? What might happen if you stopped holding so tightly? True strength is not in bending the world to your will, but in adapting gracefully to its currents. Like a skilled sailor adjusting the sails instead of fighting the wind, you can move further with less strain when you work with life rather than against it. When you release the illusion of control, you make space for the universe to guide you. You begin to see that life's flow has always been carrying you toward what is meant for you, not because you forced it, but because you finally allowed it. And in that trust, you discover a power far greater than control itself. 9. The space where miracles arrive. There is a quiet truth in life that many overlook. Emptiness often comes before abundance. In the language of Buddhist wisdom, this is not loss, but preparation. The cup must be empty before it can be filled. Without making space, even the greatest blessings will have nowhere to land. We spend much of our lives trying to hold on to everything: old possessions, relationships, habits, and even outdated versions of ourselves. But just as a field cannot produce a new harvest without first being cleared, our lives cannot welcome new growth if they remain cluttered with what no longer serves us. Holding on may feel safe, but it leaves no room for life to surprise us. Imagine your life as a vast field. The soil is rich, but the ground is covered with last season's plants. Dried stalks, tangled roots, and weeds that have overstayed their welcome. You take a deep breath, step into the field, and begin clearing. Each plant you remove is something you've outgrown: a fear, an obligation, a memory you've carried too long. As the ground becomes bare, it is not barren, it is ready. In modern life, this clearing can feel uncomfortable. The space created by letting go may feel like absence, an empty room, a quiet calendar, a pause in your plans. But Buddhist teachings remind us that this space is sacred. It is the pause before the song, the stillness before the sunrise. It is where the universe begins to weave something new for you. The difficulty is that many rush to fill the space too quickly. We replace one relationship with another, one goal with another, afraid of the silence in between. But it is in that silence that clarity grows. The longer we can sit with it, the more open we become to possibilities we could not have imagined while we were busy holding on. Ask yourself, where in your life do you need to make space for what's coming? Is there a habit that drains your energy? A commitment that no longer brings joy, or a belief that keeps you small? What would happen if you released it, trusting that the emptiness left behind is not the end but the beginning? When you create space, you signal to the universe that you are ready. You open your life like a clear field under the sun, and in time, the seeds of new opportunities will be planted there. The harvest will come, not by clinging to the past, but by welcoming the future. And when it arrives, you will see that the emptiness you once feared was the very doorway through which abundance entered. Trusting the invisible threads. There are moments in life when everything feels tangled, when events seem random, disconnected, even unfair. Imagine your life as such a tapestry. Each joy, each heartbreak, each delay, and each chance meeting is a thread. Some are bright, others dark, but all are necessary for the pattern to emerge. The light threads give contrast to the dark, and the dark gives depth to the light. Without both, the picture would be flat and incomplete. In the midst of uncertainty, it is tempting to pull at the threads, to try to rearrange life before it is ready. But forcing the weave only distorts the design. Trusting the process means allowing the unseen hand of the universe to work in its own rhythm. It is knowing that even the moments that feel like mistakes may become the strokes that give your life its most profound beauty. In modern life, we often demand instant clarity. We want to know why something is happening now, what it will lead to, and how it will end. But the Buddha's teachings invite us to rest in the unknown, to accept that some truths reveal themselves only when the time is right. This patience is not passive, it is active faith. Ask yourself, what if your current chaos is just the underside of a masterpiece? What if the delays, the changes, and the detours are the very threads that will one day make your life's pattern whole? Can you trust that even the unseen parts are essential? When you choose to trust the invisible threads, you release the need to control every stitch. You begin to see that life is not random, it is art in progress. And one day, when you are ready, the tapestry will be turned over, and you will stand in awe at what was being woven all along. Until then, you keep walking, keep living, keep trusting, knowing that the masterpiece is already in the making. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My peace attracts more 11. Letting life lead for once." There is a deep peace that comes when you allow life to guide, instead of always insisting on leading. We are taught to take charge, to plan every step, to keep our hands firmly on the wheel. Yet the Buddha's wisdom reminds us, life whispers before it shouts. If we are too busy controlling, we will miss those whispers, the quiet invitations toward paths we never imagined. Life is not always a straight road you can map out. It is more like a dance. And in this dance, there are moments when you must let your partner lead. When you follow, you feel the subtle pressure of the hand that guides you, the gentle shifts in direction. You may not know the next move, but you sense that the steps are carrying you somewhere graceful. This is the beauty of letting life lead for once. Imagine closing your eyes and placing your hand in life's hand. You step onto a floor you do not recognize. The music begins softly, and you do not know the rhythm yet, but as you relax into it, you feel yourself being turned, guided, and moved into places you would never have stepped on your own. In those moments, you discover not only the joy of the dance, but the relief of not having to control it. Sometimes we think that if we stop leading, we will lose our way. But often, it is in the letting go that we find the truest direction. Life knows turns and openings that we cannot yet see from where we stand. The path that seems like a detour may be the one that saves us from an unseen storm ahead. Buddhist practice teaches deep listening, not only to people, but to the quiet rhythms of existence, the rising and falling of breath, the changing of the seasons, the way opportunities appear when we stop chasing. When you follow instead of lead, you make space for these rhythms to guide you. You start noticing the signs, the gentle nudges, the doors opening without you forcing them. Ask yourself, where in your life could you follow instead of lead just for a while? Where could you release the need to plan every step and instead let the next step reveal itself? To let life lead is not to give up your power. It is to trust that there is a greater choreography at play, one that knows your deepest needs and highest path, even when you cannot yet see it. When you release the need to control the dance, you discover that life has been waiting to sweep you into something more beautiful than you could have designed on your own. And in that surrender, the steps finally begin to make sense. Bonus lesson: the moment you're ready to receive. There comes a quiet moment on the path when the struggle ends, not because you have forced an outcome, but because you have opened yourself enough to receive. It is a subtle shift, often unnoticed in the instant it happens. You have released the clenching, the constant reaching, the restless need to control. Your hands are finally empty, and in that emptiness, your heart feels full. This is the moment the universe has been waiting for, the moment you're ready to receive. It is not unlike the first drops of rain after a long drought. Imagine your life as such a tapestry. Each joy, each heartbreak, each delay, and each chance meeting is a thread. Some are bright, others dark, but all are necessary for the pattern to emerge. The light threads give contrast to the dark, and the dark gives depth to the light. Without both, the picture would be flat and incomplete. In the midst of uncertainty, it is tempting to pull at the threads, to try to rearrange life before it is ready. But forcing the weave only distorts the design. Trusting the process means allowing the unseen hand of the universe to work in its own rhythm. It is knowing that even the moments that feel like mistakes may become the strokes that give your life its most profound beauty. In modern life, we often demand instant clarity. We want to know why something is happening now, what it will lead to, and how it will end. But the Buddha's teachings invite us to rest in the unknown, to accept that some truths reveal themselves only when the time is right. This patience is not passive, it is active faith. Ask yourself, what if your current chaos is just the underside of a masterpiece? What if the delays, the changes, and the detours are the very threads that will one day make your life's pattern whole? Can you trust that even the unseen parts are essential? When you choose to trust the invisible threads, you release the need to control every stitch. You begin to see that life is not random, it is art in progress. And one day, when you are ready, the tapestry will be turned over, and you will stand in awe at what was being woven all along. Until then, you keep walking, keep living, keep trusting, knowing that the masterpiece is already in the making. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type "My peace attracts more 11, letting life lead for once." There is a deep peace that comes when you allow life to guide, instead of always insisting on leading. We are taught to take charge, to plan every step, to keep our hands firmly on the wheel. Yet the Buddha's wisdom reminds us, life whispers before it shouts. If we are too busy controlling, we will miss those whispers, the quiet invitations toward paths we never imagined. Life is not always a straight road you can map out. It is more like a dance. And in this dance, there are moments when you must let your partner lead. When you follow, you feel the subtle pressure of the hand that guides you, the gentle shifts in direction. You may not know the next move, but you sense that the steps are carrying you somewhere graceful. This is the beauty of letting life lead for once. Imagine closing your eyes and placing your hand in life's hand. You step onto a floor you do not recognize. The music begins softly, and you do not know the rhythm yet. But as you relax into it, you feel yourself being turned, guided, and moved into places you would never have stepped on your own. In those moments, you discover not only the joy of the dance, but the relief of not having to control it. Sometimes we think that if we stop leading, we will lose our way. But often, it is in the letting go that we find the truest direction. Life knows turns and openings that we cannot yet see from where we stand. The path that seems like a detour may be the one that saves us from an unseen storm ahead. Buddhist practice teaches deep listening, not only to people, but to the quiet rhythms of existence. The rising and falling of breath, the changing of the seasons, the way opportunities appear when we stop chasing. When you follow instead of lead, you make space for these rhythms to guide you. You start noticing the signs, the gentle nudges, the doors opening without you forcing them. Ask yourself, where in your life could you follow instead of lead just for a while? Where could you release the need to plan every step and instead let the next step reveal itself? To let life lead is not to give up your power. It is to trust that there is a greater choreography at play, one that knows your deepest needs and highest path, even when you cannot yet see it. When you release the need to control the dance, you discover that life has been waiting to sweep you into something more beautiful than you could have designed on your own. And in that surrender, the steps finally begin to make sense. Bonus lesson: the moment you're ready to receive. There comes a quiet moment on the path when the struggle ends, not because you have forced an outcome, but because you have opened yourself enough to receive. It is a subtle shift, often unnoticed in the instant it happens. You have released the clenching, the constant reaching, the restless need to control. Your hands are finally empty, and in that emptiness, your heart feels full. This is the moment the universe has been waiting for, the moment you're ready to receive. It is not unlike the first drops of rain after a long drought. For many weeks, maybe even months, the ground has been dry, cracked and thirsty. Then suddenly, without much warning, the sky opens up. The rain comes not as a slow trickle, but as a flood, full, generous and unstoppable. The earth drinks it in deeply, and every seed that once slept begins to awaken. The same happens with your heart when the blessings you've waited for finally arrive. Being ready to receive is not just about wanting something. It means being open enough to hold it. If your hands are still holding fears, grudges, or old dreams, where will the new ones go? Letting go is not about losing. It's about making room for what is truly meant for you. A crowded heart cannot welcome a fresh sunrise. Close your eyes for a while and picture that first rainfall after a long dry season. Feel it sinking into the hard ground, washing away the dust and cooling the air. Think of this rain as the love, the chance, the peace you have been waiting for. Can you allow yourself to soften enough to welcome it? Can you stop guarding yourself against it, fearing it might leave too soon? Buddhism reminds us that readiness is not about outer timing, but about inner ripeness. A fruit does not fall from the tree because the clock strikes a certain time. It drops because it has reached its fullness. In the same way, life gives you what you deserve when you are truly ready to hold it with open and unburdened hands. Ask yourself, if everything you wished for came tomorrow, could you accept it fully? Or would you still be half-closed, distracted, holding on to things that no longer serve you? The moment you are prepared to receive is never by chance. It comes from every small surrender, every act of trust, every letting go that has emptied your hands and cleared your heart. And when that moment arrives, the universe does not wait. Like rain on thirsty earth, it comes in fullness, and it comes to remain. The silent prison of holding on. Holding on may feel like safety, but it keeps you stuck in fear. The tighter your grip, the less room there is for anything new to enter. Real peace begins when you allow yourself to release control, the weight you cannot see. We often carry emotional burdens for so long that they become hidden from us. Releasing these unseen weights frees energy, lifts the spirit, and allows life to move again. The dance between effort and invitation. Life responds more gently to openness than to force. When you shift from chasing to allowing, you create space for opportunities to find you. Clenched fist, closed mind. A rigid mind cannot grow. Loosening fixed beliefs and easing mental tension creates openness for new possibilities to take root. The pause that feels like nothing. After letting go, there is often a quiet emptiness. This stillness is not a void, it is the fertile ground where transformation begins. The universe's gentle tests. After you release something important, life may test you. These tests are not punishment. They are signs that you are ready to receive something greater, the art of letting go without losing. Letting go does not mean losing forever. What is truly meant for you will return, often in a better and more complete form. The truth about control. control is often hidden fear. Trusting life to unfold naturally allows things to come together in ways your own effort never could. The space where miracles arrive. Abundance needs open space to grow. By clearing your heart and mind, you prepare yourself for the blessings that are waiting to enter, trusting the invisible threads. Even when you cannot see how things are connecting, trust that life is weaving everything into a larger, more beautiful design. Letting life lead for once. The moment you are ready to receive, you'll know you have let go when both your hands and heart feel open, ready to receive without fear, without demand, and without condition. Letting go is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. It takes courage to release what you cannot control and faith to trust what you cannot yet see. In Zen philosophy, an empty hand is never a sign of loss. It is the sign of readiness to hold something new. Life is always offering, but only to those who make space to welcome it. As the Buddha taught, you only lose what you cling to. When you stop holding on to what was, you open yourself to what can be. The universe moves in harmony with open hearts, giving not always what you want, but always what you truly need. The art is to stay still enough to notice and wise enough to accept. So I leave you with this. If tomorrow the universe came knocking, would it find you weighed down with yesterday's grip? Or standing with empty hands, ready for the gift? If this touched your heart, like and share this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Buddha's Eternal Wisdom for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a calm and peaceful life. You don't always have to lead. When you listen and follow life's quiet guidance, you end up in places you could never reach by force.